Good morning everybody and welcome to this end of summer term Headmaster's video blog. It's Friday the 10th of July and in just a few hours time we'll all be breaking up for a well-deserved summer holiday, even if that means a UK beach holiday, which I must admit I'm looking forward to immensely. That said, a few things to wrap up first. Parents, I think it's important for you to know that we are planning a much more normal return to school in September. We expect all the boys to be in every day. That is the government position and we are planning accordingly. We will obviously have bubbles still, but they will be bigger bubbles. We will also retain core elements of health, safety and welfare in the school. And because we are expecting all pupils back, we will not be continuing with online provision next term, but that will be, of course, a great fallback position for us should there be a second spike resulting in school closure again. And it's quite nice to know that we have something so tried and trusted readily at our disposal should it be necessary. Let's hope it's not. There will of course be some casualties in terms of seasonal events, in terms of our planning and calendar. So we are at this stage looking towards online Harvest Festival, online Remembrance and some sort of online Christmas celebration, all of which will have to be confirmed near the time. It is likely that large gatherings will not happen, so we won't have assemblies in any meaningful way in person. So again, the fallback position for us is to continue with our divisional heads' weekly updates and of course my own video weekly diary, which have been well received hitherto, and obviously they are available for pupils to watch in the school and indeed for you to watch with them at home. In terms of trips, we will really cut back on trips, certainly for the immediate future, and they will really only go ahead if they're absolutely necessary in terms of curriculum content. And if we can be absolutely assured of their safety. So that very much depends on location and logistics. Fixtures with other schools, we have put some in the calendar in the hope that we will be able to play some, but these will have to be confirmed on a week-to-week basis, and time will tell. There is a huge amount of detail for us to work through, and quite frankly, we all need a rest. So realistically, I'm not going to be writing to you with firm details for next term until the week commencing the 17th of August, I would imagine at the earliest. That will coincide with the school's GCSE results, so it would be quite nice to wrap that up at the same time. But I thought it would be useful to give you a little bit of an overview as to the direction of travel in which we are headed. And at that time, so mid to late August, we will write with much greater clarity in terms of details, but you can plan for a relatively normal school day in terms of timings, with the expectation that your son will be in school every single day at this point in time. It is of course all subject to government change and discretion, hence why I don't particularly want to rush into an enormous amount of work when it may yet change, but we are certainly giving it a lot of consideration already. It was a very strange experience recording our prize-giving speeches this week inside. We had originally hoped to be filming outside, but the weather conspired against us. That said, I really must commend Will Hamilton and Jack Fernandez, who I thought spoke with great aplomb and great sincerity about how Kingswood House has really had a significant impact on them, both in terms of their learning and in terms of their personalities. It was lovely to hear, and of course it must have been awkward for them, given that Mr Shipley, the Chair of Governors, myself and Mr Mitchell were in very close proximity, but they bore up very well, I thought. And in terms of the prize-giving video, we will refine it, we will edit it, and once I am happier with it, we will make it available on the school website. But I did feel it was important for that to go out to you in the first instance so that you could hear everything that needed to be said. Many congratulations to Freddie Harrison, Jack Leonard, who are senior head boy and deputy head boy respectively, to Ben Hubber and Ted Bunya-Ames, who are head boy of upper prep and deputy head boy of upper prep respectively, And well done to all other pupils with positions of responsibility which are in the newsletter. So congratulations to all of you. And as I said in my speech, if you have missed out this time in terms of a prize or a position of responsibility, it really should not define you. It is your day-to-day choices that are really important and that will determine your future. So let's see a little bit of bounce back ability in the spirit of the Nelson Mandela quotation that is on the wall in the Peter Brooks building. Finally, I am incredibly grateful to all of my team of staff. As I have said many times, they have been absolutely amazing, a great team ethic and camaraderie in evidence. And I'm really pleased to have seen so many great examples of the boys making strong progress during the online learning at home. So well done, boys. Well done, parents, for all of your input into that. As I've said before, without you, we wouldn't have been able to accomplish this either. And of course, a massive well done to my fantastic team of staff. We are very, very fortunate indeed. So I'm going to now move into the last summer mentions and dispatches. So here goes. Well done to everybody in the Key Stage 1 crew from Mrs. Henry. She's obviously moving on. We all wish her well, but she has said that years 1 and 2 have just made this year so fun for her. So thank you. Well done in Year 3 to Fraser Smith for his comic strip on Force challenge, to Cameron Edwards for the poem he wrote for his mum and dad, to Lewis for his Punch and Judy show, to Ryan for his great poem on the gingerbread house, to Torrin for his amazing maths work this week, to Frankie Wintle for his Punch and Judy show, to Ben Scudamore for his narrative poem on the gingerbread house, to Seb Phillips for his Punch and Judy show, and Hugo Hawksley wrote a lovely message to his mum and dad, so Mrs. Master was very happy with you. Well done to all of the boys in 4S from Miss Smith. She's really chuffed with everything that you've done. You've had a fantastic year. And equally, Mrs. Lambert would like to say a heartfelt thanks to all of the amazing boys in 4L. You've been positive, enthusiastic, even through lockdown. And she's loved having you back in recent weeks. An outstanding class. All the very best in Year 5. In the current Year 5, Mrs. Seaver and Mr. Clark would like to say well done to both forms. You have been absolutely brilliant, both in school and at home. They are very proud of you, and best wishes for Year 6. Into the current Year 6, well done from Mrs. Dean to all of the boys at home and in school in 6C. You have been an absolute pleasure, and I know that Mrs. Celentano will echo that from home as well. Well done particularly to Krishan for his focus and effort in science from Mr. Barrett, to Paul Barrow for his mathematics, and also to Noah, Amir and Jaden for their excellent Kahoot quizzes, and to Christos for his rap during a Smarties investigation. That sounds interesting. Well done again to Krishan for fantastic work in mathematics again, to Bailey Partridge, who's shown great endeavour in French, and to Theo Moffat, who has been proactive and created a PowerPoint quiz for the class in French as well from Madame Swift. Into Year 7, Matthew Mullen has been nominated by Miss Black for being very polite, Henry Sweetman for being really positive and making great progress with his self-confidence and enthusiasm, to Oliver Ward for working really well on the day that Year 7 were back in, and to Archie Spick for great work with his presentation on hedgehogs. Stuart Coleman's been nominated for great work in science, as has Bogdan for enthusiasm in his science work as well. James Carr has maintained very high standards, and Ted Bunyar aims an increased performance in his work from Mr. Barrett. In mathematics, Ivan Tutai has really worked hard on his geometricity, and Henry Sweetman gets another call out for his maths as well, as do Charlie Leonard, James Carr and Daniel Pepper from Musruitz. So well done to you. Stuart Coleman and Tarani have been singled out for their award of a bronze certificate in this year's UK Junior Maths Challenge, which is no mean feat. Well done, and that was especially difficult to do given that you sat it at home, which is unusual, so well done, boys. Into Year 8, Ali Al-Rabai has finished the term with a flourish, according to Mr. Lordy. and James Giles has worked very well indeed in the second half of term. Archie Eperon, well done to you for a great PowerPoint on eclipses, and Ismail Mohammed, a really strong finish to the term, especially in science, from Mr. Barrett. Hardy Youssef has also been awarded a bronze certificate in the UK Junior Maths Challenge, which is a great effort, and Hardy, we wish you well for your move to the Royal Grammar School Guildford to be with your brother. Alfred Lewis has been nominated for great work in geometricity, and Folu has really picked up his efforts in recent weeks in maths and has been singled out by Miss Ruitt, so well done Folu. Jack Beckman, well done. You've been nominated by Mr. March for a super persuasive letter. Joe Offen and Owen Fisher have both received nominations for good humour and good work ethic from Mr. Barrett. Cameron Allenby for great improvement in mathematics in the last 2 weeks, and Eddie Fisher for consistent effort and improvement in maths throughout the term, so well done to you. Max Mitchell-Nesbert has been nominated for a great attitude in science, especially when back in person this week, and he also created a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire quiz to unite the whole of Year 9 at the end of term via Teams. He pitched the idea, got approval, made up his own music and came up with the questions and hosted as well. So he even had the temerity to include Mr. Rudkin as phone a friend, so I'm not sure how wise a choice that was. Probably wouldn't be first on my list, unless it was history, of course. And he's actually editing it into an entire pilot episode, so well done. Mr. Twinley was really impressed with your efforts, Max, and I look forward to watching that. NT Year 10, Jazib Ahmed and Suyun Lee have been given special mention for their work on poetry anthology work by Mr. March, as have Eddie Monk and James Totham. And James has got a number of nominations here in science, in maths, and just generally for fantastic effort, as has Eddie Monk. In 10L, Jack Leonard, Freddie, Hassan and Toby have been elected as senior prefects, and you have really captured the imagination, I think, of everybody with your efforts and endeavours as role models this year. So well done to you from Miss Lindley remotely and Miss Ruitt here at the moment. Michael Cleaver, great to hear how hard you've been working, Michael, and your commitment has been recognised here with a nomination. And in general, Miss Ruitt would like to say a big thank you to everyone in 10L and indeed 10S, who have been kind and welcoming, and she's really enjoyed seeing you all in person as well as working with you at home. So what a fantastic way to round off a really unconventional but highly successful year for the school. The newsletter in which this blog will be mentioned and linked is a really wonderful attribute and showcases, I think, not only our strong values of respect, integrity and endeavour, but also a platform for some wonderful work. And when you get a moment, do take a look at our online art exhibition, which, if it isn't up at the moment, will certainly be up in the very near future, as well as fantastic evidence of creativity and enterprise, which are skill sets which I believe these young people really need to take forward for life beyond the school gates. We wish all of our leaving year 11s, all of our leavers and staff the very best wishes for the future. I look forward to seeing the very vast majority of you back in person to a much more normal Kingswood House in September. And in the meantime, have a great rest and enjoy a wonderful summer holiday. Goodbye from me.